Good evening friends, this is Professor Vishal and in today's session we are continue our first chapter, that is some basic concepts of chemistry. So this is already written, I just complete it. Some basic concepts of chemistry. Okay. So in last lecture we started our this chapter basic, we almost cover all the basic things. Now in today's session we are going to discuss about the one law is remaining from our last session, that is law of chemical combination. So we already learned 4 laws, isn't it? So we also seen that how these laws are stated, and there are basically total 5 laws. First law is law of conservation of mass. Second one is the law of fixed proportion, we called it as a law of constant composition also. Then third law is law of multiple proportion. Fourth is law of reciprocal proportion. So all these 4 laws we have seen with the help of some examples, okay, and their statements also. We try to understand their statement, and we give some of the examples of these laws. Now in this lecture I am going to discuss about the 5th law. Then we will see Dalton's atomic theory. Dalton is the first scientist who put forth the atomic theory, or who first discussed about the atoms. Then we are going to discuss his postulates, or what we can say assumption of Dalton's atomic theory, then drawbacks of atomic theory, then Dalton's atomic theory. Then we will proceed to understand the we are going to see the modern atomic theory, what are its assumptions. After that we are going to discuss about the Avogadro's hypothesis. So in this way we will proceed in this lecture. So I will start with 5th law, that is remaining last law of our law of chemical combination. So that law is not nothing but Gay-Lussac's law. Okay. So when we discuss about this law, according to the statement of this law, when two gases combine, when two or more gases combine to form third gas. Okay. So what Gay-Lussac stated, when two or more gases combine to form a third gas, then total number of reactants and total number of products what we are getting, they are always bear in a whole number ratio with each other. Okay, means what I am let us say I am taking one gas mixing with other gas in order to get third gas. Okay, so according to Gay-Lussac, whatever the number of what we can say the total reactant side and total product side, so they will appear in a whole number ratio, they will bear in a whole number ratio with each other. We will take one simple example of his law. So according to Gay-Lussac, I am giving you the example of Gay-Lussac's law. So let us say I am taking the simple example of hydrogen will combine with chlorine. Okay, we will get 2 times HCl, hydrochloric acid. Okay, so this must be in a gaseous form, this is also in gaseous form, so we will get this gaseous form. Okay, so if we see the ratio by volume particularly, so I can say here 1 volume of hydrogen is there, isn't it? Here 1 volume of chlorine is there, and here if you see 2 volume of HCl is there, isn't it? So means what, they appear 1:1:2. So what Gay-Lussac stated, that when we are combining 2 or more gases to get the third gas, isn't it? When we are combining 2 gases to get as the output as the third gas, then reactants on reactant side and on product side. So this is your reactant side, isn't it? And this is your product side, as we have already studied in the 10th standard. What is reactants and what is reactant side and what is product side. So according to Gay-Lussac, the ratio appears in a whole number, isn't it, with reactant and product. So if you see the example, ratio will get 1:1:2. Okay, so this is by volume. Here 1 means 1 mole of hydrogen, 1 mole of chlorine, here 2 moles of HCl, isn't it? So according to the Gay-Lussac's law, this is proven. Okay, so again we will discuss about this statement once more. Two gases combine to give 2 or more gases combine to give a third gas, then all the reactants and products bear whole number ratio with each other. Okay, so this is what Gay-Lussac stated, and you can take this example also. You can see as many as examples. For example, this is, let us say this is your first example. I am giving you one more example. When nitrogen combine with chlorine, isn't it? So I will get NH3, isn't it? So I can write here 1 1 and 2. So in this way you can take any example, or we can say here one volume of nitrogen, one atom of nitrogen, three atom of nitrogens, and here you will get two atoms of NH3. So in this way you can easily put the examples. Most important thing is what, when we, so provided that these should be gases, huh? So this law is all about gases, most important thing. So according to statement, when we combine two or more gases in order to get third gas, then the reactant side as well as on product side, they will appear in a whole number ratio with each other. So this is what the statement of Gay-Lussac's law. So after this we will proceed. So these are nothing but the 5 laws, so we commonly call it as the laws of chemical combinations. Okay, so after this we are going to start Dalton's atomic theory. Okay, sorry. Dalton's atomic theory. See, Dalton is the first scientist who put forth, who discuss what exactly the atom is. Okay, so we firstly discuss about the atom. So this theory is most important, we can say. This is the basis for all other atomic models, we can say. Okay, so according to Dalton's theory, there are some assumptions. We will discuss these assumptions one by one. I'm going to write right here assumptions. So he gives us nearly 6 to 7 assumptions. According to Dalton, firstly, what is atom? As I told you, Dalton is the first scientist who gives us what exactly the atom is, who tell us about the to the universe what exactly the atom is. Okay, according to the Dalton, atom is smallest indestructible particle, smallest indestructible particle in the universe. Okay, so this is first postulate or assumption, we can say. Second is what, atoms of same element are same. Third postulate stated by Dalton is atoms of different elements are different. Atoms of different elements are different. Okay. Next, according to Dalton, atom is smallest unit which is taking part in a chemical reaction, we can say. Atom is smallest unit which will take part in chemical reaction. Okay, then according to Dalton, fifth assumption is that atom can never be destroyed, or atom cannot be produced or can never be destroyed. Okay, atoms can't be produced or destroyed. Then next assumption of Dalton theory is what, in any chemical reaction there is a combination, there is a separation or a rearrangement of atoms. We cannot create new atom according to Dalton. So these are nothing but the postulates, or we can say assumptions of Dalton's atomic theory. Now after this we are going to discuss drawbacks. Okay, so despite of some of the drawbacks, but Dalton's theory is the most important theory in chemistry, we can say, because he gives us first definition or first idea about the atom. Okay, so according to him, atom is the smallest indestructible particle, atoms of same element are same, atoms of different elements are different. Then fourth one is atom is the smallest unit which takes part in the chemical reaction. Then fifth one is atom can be produced cannot be produced. Here can't is there. Okay, so it is atoms cannot be produced or destroyed. Okay, so one more and sixth one I am not writing here. In any chemical reaction, atom combination, separation, or rearrangement of atoms takes place. And one more assumption I just forgot here to tell you about. Atom of two or more same kind of atoms or different kind of atoms combine to form combined atoms. We can call it as a combined atom. Definition of combined atom. Use the definition of combined atom. We then called it as a molecules, isn't it? Means what? Atoms of two or more same kind of atom or different kind of atoms combined to form compound atom. For example, let us say, so this one is the hydrogen atom, this one is the oxygen atom. When they will combine, they will form compound atom. So we called it as a molecule of water, isn't it? So these are the 7 assumptions given by Dalton to all of us. Okay. Then after this we are going to discuss about the drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory. Okay. Okay, we will see, we already discussed about these assumptions, and in next part we are going to discuss about the drawbacks of this theory. Okay. When we discuss about the drawbacks of Dalton atomic theory, see, or we call it as a demerits also. So first drawback, Dalton explains us, or Dalton gives us laws of chemical combination. But he does not explain us, he, or we can say he fails to explain law of combining volume. Law of combining volume. Okay, so means what? He does not explain the law of combining volumes, or how atoms are combined in a by volume proportion. For example, if we take two elements and we are going to form a compound from these elements, so according to the law of combinations, the compounds are formed, but how they are combining by the volumes, so he fails to explain that. Then second drawback of Dalton's atomic theory is what? He could not explain atoms of different element have different valencies. Means what? Different elements have different valencies. So he could not explain this thing. Means valencies means what? Number of electrons in its outermost shell. Okay, so he fails to explain this. Different atoms of different element have different valencies. Then third drawback is, he told us that elements are combined to form compounds, but he does not explain, or he fails to explain what is the necessity of compounds. Okay, according to the law of chemical combination, we have seen that atoms are combined by a fixed ratio of weight and volume, we will get compound. But what is the necessity of compound? He fails to explain the necessity. Okay, then when we discuss about one more drawback, he fails to explain atom combining, as we already discussed here, combination of atoms, or why atoms need to be combined. So what exactly, how they are combined, what are the various types of force of attraction in between atoms, so that they will combine. So he fails to explain that concepts also. So that is fourth concept, atom combining. Okay, so he could not explain the force of what are the various forces which are responsible for combination of atoms. So these are nothing but the drawbacks. Along with the assumptions, we have studied these drawbacks. First drawback is, he gives us law of chemical combination, but he fails to explain laws of combining volume of the elements. Then he, according to him, different elements have different valencies. Sorry, it is not according to him. He fails to explain these concepts also. He could not given us the clarification on different elements have different valencies. We can write here he fails to explain or he didn't explain. I just writing it down in a simple format. Just I will provide you notes then. He didn't explain different elements have different valencies, or he didn't explain the reason, we can say. Then third drawback is what he fails to explain what is the necessity of compounds. We have studied that elements are combined in a different proportion to will get compound. So what is the necessity of compound? He could not explain us. And again he fails to explain the what are the forces so that atoms are combined. Okay, so these are nothing but the drawbacks of Dalton's atomic theory. Now whenever there is a drawback, so these drawbacks studied by further scientists and they will put forth new theory. Okay, we have also seen in 10th standard. So after this, next atomic theory is there, that is known as modern atomic theory. Okay, now after this we will going to discuss about more detail about the modern atomic theory. Okay. So we are going to study second atomic theory, that is modern atomic theory. See, according to the we will discuss the assumptions of this theory. First assumption, according to modern atomic theory. So there is a difference between modern atomic theory and Dalton's atomic theory on various parameters. First parameter we are going to discuss about the atom. Sorry, I am writing it down in the correct way. According to modern atomic theory, atom is the particle. Atom is the according to modern atomic theory, atom consists of subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons or electrons. Okay, so it consists of subatomic particles. Atom consists of subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons and electrons, isn't it? So if number of protons we call it as atomic mass, then number of addition of protons plus neutrons we call it as atomic mass number, isn't it? So this theory gives us more detail about the atom. According to modern atomic theory, atom consists of subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons and electrons. Okay, so again there is a difference between assumption of Dalton and modern atomic theory on the basis of, according to Dalton, on the basis of atom. Okay, according to Dalton, atom of the same element are same. Okay, but according to this theory, atoms of same element may be different. Okay, he put forth, in order to explain this concept, he put forth the concept of isotopes, isn't it? Isotopes means what? Same element having same atomic number, or atoms of the element having same atomic number but different mass number, isn't it? Element with same atomic number but different mass number. For example, if I am going to take the example of isotopes, hydrogen. Okay, hydrogen is the element having three isotopes. First one is known as protium, having atomic mass number is 1. Second one is deuterium, atomic mass number is 2, and third is known as tritium, whose atomic mass number is 3. Okay, so in this way, by putting the concept of isotopes, modern atomic theory stated that atoms of same element may be different, isn't it? Means isotopes are nothing but the elements with same atomic number but different mass number. Then a third assumption or third concept put forth by modern atomic theory is what? Again, it is completely different from Dalton's atomic theory. According to Dalton, atoms of different elements are different, but this theory stated that atoms of different elements may be same, isn't it? So for this, he put the concept of isobars, which is completely opposite to isotope. Okay, I will write it down here. So these two are the basic ideas of the first. He told about the atoms. It consists of subatomic particles. Atom consists of subatomic particles such as protons, neutrons, and electrons. Then atoms of same element may be different. This is completely opposite to the Dalton's atomic theory. So he put forth the in order to justify this statement, he put forth the concept of isotopes. Isotopes are nothing but the elements with same atomic number with different mass number. Okay, again I will repeat, atomic number is what? Total number of protons inside the nucleus, and atomic mass number is what? Mass number is nothing but the total number of protons and neutrons inside the nucleus. Okay, now I will discuss about the third point of this theory. Atoms of different element may be same. Dalton stated that atoms of different elements are different, but according to this theory, atoms of different elements may be same. In order to justify this statement, he put forth the concept of isobars. Now, question arises here, what do you mean by isobar then? See, basically isobar is completely opposite to isotope. Isobar is nothing but the elements with same mass number but different atomic number. Okay, so in case of isotopes, elements with same atomic number but different mass number. But in case of isobars, elements with same mass number but different atomic number. So he explains that atoms of different elements may be different. So for which he uses the concept of isobars here. Okay. Then according to this, this is third assumption of this theory. Fourth assumption is similar that of the assumptions made by Dalton's atomic theory, that is the atoms are the smallest unit which are taking part in a chemical reaction. Okay, so we can write down here, atoms are smallest element, atoms are smallest element which takes part in chemical reaction. Okay, now fifth assumption given by this fourth assumption is similar in case of Dalton as well as modern atomic theory. Okay. Fifth assumption given by modern atomic theory is what? Atom may or may not combine in a complex ratio, or generally we can write here, atoms combine in a complex ratio. What do you mean by this complex ratio? So for which I will give you one example. So in taking example of sucrose, C12H22O7, we commonly call it as a table sugar. Okay, so if you see in this compound, 12 atoms of carbon are there, 22 atoms of hydrogen are there, and 7 atoms of oxygen are there. Whether they are in a simple ratio No, they are available in this compound in a complex ratio, though they are forming the compounds, that is we are getting sucrose. So in this way, according to the modern atomic theory, atoms combine in a complex ratio. Atoms may combine in a complex ratio. This is given by the Dalton's modern atomic theory. According to Dalton, he cannot give us the combination or how atoms are combined, isn't it? So here this drawback is eliminated by modern atomic theory. Okay, so this is what the complex ratio atom compounds available in complex ratio, isn't it? So these are the 5 ideas or 5 concepts given by modern atomic theory, and one more concept is there. According to this, atom of one element may change into other. So this is again most important. Just I am writing this here. That is sixth one. Atoms of one element can be converted into others, or may change into other. How this is? For example, we have seen the I am giving the example of fission process. So what will happen in fission process, particularly in nuclear power plant? So let us say I am using uranium as the fuel, okay, and bombarding electrons on this uranium atom. I will get protonium as the new atom. So this is what atoms of one element may be changed into other. So this is by this fission process, in this fission process. So this is also concept given by modern atomic theory. And one more last concept is there, that is atoms of an atom can be mass of an atom can be converted into energy. We might have known this, that is common principle given by Einstein, E equal to mc square, that is law, theory of relativity. Means what? Mass of atom can be converted into energy, isn't it? So in this way, this is all about the modern atomic theory. We will discuss in our next session about the Avogadro's hypothesis, we can say, and further details. Okay.